Hello, my name is Arkesha B. Jackson, and I'm currently in summer phase 2 of EDU 709 with Professor Zhang, and I'll be presenting to you today my creating project presentation. I'm going to start off with my rationale for lesson 1 and 2, which is a few slides. This past school year, 2016-17, students at Martin G. Atkins became a one-to-one Google Chromebook district. Many teachers in our district only received brief training on how to use Chromebooks and didn't know ways to academically challenge their students. An advantage I had over these teachers in my previous district was my knowledge of using Chromebooks, and also from taking courses in my master's program. Chromebooks popularity. Google Chromebooks has become recently very popular with our education system. Studies have found that Chromebooks has outsold iPads for the first time in 2014. Chromebooks are inexpensive yet highly compatible devices that also allow users to use the keyboard. Chromebooks can be purchased for around roughly $200, half the cost of an iPad. As of 2005, sale of Chromebooks globally were on pace to increase by 27% to over 7 million. And last, in 2014, 72% of Chromebooks purchased were bought by schools as efficient alternatives to traditional devices. And this picture up top and on the previous pages this year, a couple of my students who were using their Chromebooks using a game called Kahoot. One particular app that I never tried out that Chromebook has available and has become very popular is called Google Hangouts. And this is what I'll be presenting my first lesson on. I am a Google Chrome fan, but I never used Google Hangouts, and I want to show you what that looks like. So this is basically what it looks like when you log in. You must have an account to get started, and in order to actually have a conversation with somebody, you have to, or like a video, you have to invite somebody. So I don't have anything scheduled, and so I can't really start anything or show you much because I actually need to have somebody join on to show you how the video or the text chat can actually go about. But I just want to give you an overview. This is what the Google Hangouts will look like, and once you are doing your video or your text chat, you can see it on the screen. So I'm going to go back to the presentation. So in my class, we are pen pals with another 4th grade classroom in another school district. So you have a little bit background information about the Google Hangouts. Now I want to tell you how I'll be using it within my classroom. Students in my class are pen pals with another 4th grade class of students in Kentucky. My students usually send them letters to their Google Docs that they share with each other, or they send videos through our group or through our class dojo from time to time. However, I wanted my kids to do an assignment that was fun and related to our standards that everyone could enjoy. Now keep in mind, I've never tried this, but I really wanted to try to use Google Hangouts in an academic way, but also in a fun, engaging way that my students will be eager to try to use this again. Therefore, I created a lesson plan on using Google Hangouts to identify state locations. It's almost like the mystery state game where you have to create questions so someone can guess the name of your state. Both classes will be live on their Google Hangouts, and students from both classes, one at a time, will ask a group a set of questions. And based off of those questions, they will have the opportunity to answer it right or wrong. The class who identifies all the state locations will be the U.S. State Identifier winner. And these are our friends from Kentucky who are our pen pals. So you can see how they don't look all camera friendly, but we had I'm sure we're going to have a great time with this lesson. So I'm going to continue my rationale. Each student will have access to their Chromebooks. This is where they will create their questions and share them with the members in their group. All students will have access to the class smartboard, and this is where we'll be communicating through. The next lesson I will be completing is on Google Chromebooks to increase students' reading comprehension through this learning website called Read Theory. This is a new website I just started using this past school year with my fourth graders during their intervention block to work on their reading comprehension. Throughout the school year, I've been coming up with ways to effectively use this free educational site to benefit my students in their learning progress. I want to see if my students' reading comprehension scores could increase. Students will have access to their headphones and their visual computers for 15-25 minutes a day. So now I'm going to go right into lesson 1, using Google Hangouts to identify state locations. So this is a map of what I was discussing in my rationale earlier of we're going to have in class. Actually, we're going to have like a big size map of all the states, and the kids get to pin a sticky note on that state that they have identified. So it's blank in our classroom. 2 4th grade classes will be using Google Hangouts video chat with each other to identify state locations. Students will take turns within their groups asking yes or no type questions in a race to solve the mystery state. The first clue that the class should ask should be rather general and vague, with some subsequent clues becoming more specific and obvious. For example, questions, clues, and answers should look like the following. Class A clue. Our professional baseball team is famous for. This is what a group of students might give out to the other class. Class B question might be, are you on the East Coast? And Class A answer might say no. Then Class A will give a clue after they have answered yes or no. We are on the west of the Mississippi River. So Class B was asked, are you located in one of the central states? And Class A would answer no. After they answer no, they would give another clue. And so I just want you to get a feel of how my students are going to be developing questions and what type of questions they're going to be asked and clues they're going to be given in order to identify these state locations. In each group of 4, students will have a specific role and several assigned states to research before our meeting with the other class. Keep in mind, each student role rotates after they have completed one of their states. One member will be the clue giver, questionnaire, researcher, note taker. So say that we have 5 states in my group. So if I'm doing Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, California, Texas, with each state, I will have a different role. Now, of course, if I have 5 states, I'm going to have the same role more than once, but so that each student does not do the same job throughout the lesson. And then the first step, form teams of 4 students, set up 3 or 4 chairs in front of the camera, and we're going to be displaying ours on our smart board. If your class does not have a smart board, you can set it right up in front of their Chromebooks, because our Chromebooks were ordered with webcams already installed, but if not, you can get a webcam that you can purchase to hook up. Each team gets a chance to interact with the class by giving clues and asking questions. Teams waiting in the class are continuing their research and strategizing as they wait their turn. The team that guesses the location of the other state of the other class can win a prize sticker, or they'll get a class dojo point. Technology and resources involved. First and foremost, the technology and resources involved, students would need access to Wi-Fi, and that's why I have this Wi-Fi picture, and they would need a Chromebook. 1 Chromebook per student is preferred. Students would need an email account to have access to their Chromebook and to log into their account. Students in the class, if they not already have a smartboard, could use Google Hangouts on their individual Chromebooks when using the webcam. Students would also need to know, so this is the webcam that you can purchase if you already don't have one installed. Students will also need to know how to use search engines. These are 2 of the search engines that we use in our class a lot, Kiddo and Kid Search. These are safe search engines that I like because they restrict and limit what the kids see when they type information. Students will also need to know how to use their Google Docs when they're taking their notes, and these notes will be submitted and counted as grades. More so credit, no credit type of base grades for the note taking. What skills, knowledge, and pedagogy are required of the teacher? Teachers must have a working knowledge of how to use Chromebooks, working knowledge of how to use Google Hangouts. If teachers need more practice, they may visit. And I have 2 links that I posted that if a teacher needs help, they can check out these 2 links. Well, I'm the teacher technically, but these links really tell you how to use Google Hangouts. And this is a video, which I really like. Now, it's long, it's 17 minutes, but it's a really great video for that feature. And then I want to open up the next link for you. And this is not technically a video. It is from a website, We Are Teachers, and 7 ways to use Google Hangouts in the classroom. So if you're trying to get ideas on how to use Google Hangouts in your classroom, then this is a great article to read. Okay, so form a virtual book club, etc. So and this is kind of where I got my idea from as well. So I'm going to now continue. So what are the skills, prior skills and knowledge are required for the students? They must have a Gmail account. High-speed Wi-Fi is essential. Basic computer knowledge of being able to log in. Working knowledge of how to use a search engine for research. Knowing how to use those kid search. And knowing what to select on and not selecting on ads. Working knowledge of how to access their Google Docs, share documents, and have a knowledge of typing. They must, before this, is recommend that you model with your students how to type in a Google Docs, how to share Google Docs, and how to type. And this is something that my kids have worked on all year. A working knowledge of how to rotate and follow through with assigned group roles. Build that community setting of how to work together. Sometimes when you first assign group roles, students don't know what those roles really mean. So teachers model these roles so that the students have an awareness of what their job is truly. And they also need abilities to read and present. What are students asked to do exactly? Product or process? Students are asked to first be present in the class. In their small group of 4, they'll select specific roles for specific states. One of would be the questionnaire, the researcher, the clue giver, and the note taker. Once students have identified their specific roles, students will then use their Google Chromebooks to look for clues and think of questions to ask of the class. Students will log all their notes in their shared Google documents. And I say share because it's the documents that they're going to be sharing within their classmates and within myself, within their group members. Students will be given a group number. This is how they will know when their turn is to come and present. Students are not to be talking louder than a whisper. Actually, we have in our school number charts at 1, 2, 3, and 4. So no louder than a 1, but I said a whisper when another group is presenting to our pen pals. Students are to be cleverly working together. Even if they get the other class answer right or wrong, they're still supposed to be working together. Early finishers can be strategizing or quietly guessing their peer or presenting team state's location. They may even use their Google Docs to research and track their thoughts. Some advantages include Google Hangout is free, it's browser-based, incredibly intuitive, so anyone can easily start using the video chatting services. Voice and audio quality is great, and also depends on your speed of your Wi-Fi connection. The YouTube integration makes Google Hangouts fun to use. But there are some disadvantages. The need for an invitation to Google Plus to get started in a video chat. I just can't start video chatting by myself. I need to have someone else there or invite someone to activate my camera to start chatting. If there's a user being inappropriate during a hangout, they can be reported, but they would not get kicked out of the chatting session. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Alright, so I'm testing out because I didn't see my screen on the previous one. So I'm just going to go back to my slide. And I noticed that I have 30 something slides and I only made it to the 17th one. So I'm going to be My name is Arkisha B. Jackson and I'm presenting my creative project presentation. My rationale for lesson 1 and 2, this past school year 2016, students at Martin G. Atkins became a one-on-one Google Chromebook district. Many teachers in our district only received a brief training on how to use Chromebooks and didn't really know ways to actively challenge their students. An advantage I had over these teachers Hello, my name is Arkisha B. Jackson and I'll be presenting today my creative project. I'm going to starting right into my rationale for lessons 1 and 2. This past school year, 2016-17, students at Martin G. Atkins became a one-on-one Google Chromebook district. Many teachers in our district only received brief training on how to use Chromebooks and didn't know ways to academically challenge their students. An advantage I had over these teachers was my previous knowledge of using Chromebooks in my last district, and as well as taking my master's now that I am currently in. Some Chromebook popularities is that Chromebooks have outsold iPads for the first time in 2014. They are inexpensive yet very compatible devices. Chromebooks you can buy them roughly for $200, half the cost of an iPad, and they have keyboards. As of 2015, the sale of Chromebooks globally were on pace to increase by 27% to over 7 million. In 2014, 72% of the Chromebooks purchased were bought by schools as efficient alternatives to traditional devices. This is a picture of my students using the Chromebooks playing Kahoot in my classroom. So my first lesson is going to be on Google Hangouts, and this is a really hot app right now with the Google Chromebook, and I want to take you there for a quick second. This is secondly what the Google Hangouts look like, and you can do video chatting as well as text messages chatting with anybody. But the only reason why you don't see anything going on right now is because I haven't invited anyone. So you cannot really access anything until you invite someone. So we're going to go back to my presentation. But that is basically what lesson 1 is on. So we have pen pals in another state that we have been using this school year, and they're in Kentucky. And we usually just send them letters through our Google Docs, share them through our Google Docs, or use our Class Dojo to send videos. However, I wanted my students to do an assignment that was fun and related to our Common Core standards that everyone could enjoy. I created a lesson called Using Google Hangouts to Identify State Locations. It's almost like the mystery state game where students have to create questions and guess the other location of their class. Both classes will be live on their Google Hangouts, and students from both classes, one at a time, will ask a group a set of questions, and based off those questions, they will have the opportunity to answer right or wrong. The class who identifies all the state locations will be the U.S. State Identifier winner. And this is a picture of my pen pal group. My rationale continue. Each student will have access to their Chromebooks. This is where they create their own questions and share them with the members in their group. All students will have access to the class smartboard, and this is where we're going to be communicating through. We're going to be using our smartboard to communicate. However, you can do this activity right on your Chromebook or any device that has a camera. The next lesson I'll be completing is on using Chromebooks to increase student reading comprehension through this learning website called Read Theory. This is a new website I just started using this past school with my 4th grade students during intervention time. And I wanted to come up with some effective, efficient ways so my students can grow. And they use these use their Chromebooks on this website for 15 to 25 minutes daily. To go back to Google Hangouts, lesson 1, using Google Hangouts to identify state locations. Description. 2 4th grade classes will be using Google Hangouts video chat with each other to identify state locations. Students will take turns within their groups asking yes or no type questions in a race to solve the mystery state. Like the map above, we're going to have a big map in class, but it's not going to have any state names on there all. We're going to actually be sticky noting the state once we identify them. The first clue that the class should or act should rather be general and vague, with subsequent clue becoming more specific and obvious. For example, questions, clues, and answers should look like the following. Class A clue. They might say, our professional baseball team is very famous. Then the other class might ask the question, are you on the East Coast? And then class A will answer no, and then if they answer no, they give a clue. We are west of the Mississippi River. Then class B will ask, are you located in one of the central states? And class A might answer no. If they answer no, you always give a clue. In each group of 4, each student will have a specific role and assign states to research before a meeting with the other class. So both teachers are already conversing on what we're going to be doing. So students are already going to be meeting and searching for a question and clues beforehand. Keep in mind, each student roles rotate after they have completed one of their states. So they're going to have about 4 to 5 states. So a student should not have the same role more than at the max twice. You have the clue giver, you have the questionnaire, you have the researcher, the note taker. First, you're going to form teams of 4, set up 3 or 4 chairs in front of the camera. We're going to set up ours right in front of the smartboard, but if you're doing it on your Chromebook, you can have it right in front of your camera. Each student gets a chance to interact with the other class by giving a clue and asking questions. Teams wait in the class are continuing to do their research and strategizing as they wait their turn. The team that guesses the location of other states of the other classes can win a prize sticker or a Class Dojo point. Now I just want to talk to you about the technology and resources involved. Students must have access to Wi-Fi. They must have a Chromebook. In order to even access the Chromebook, they have to have an email. Then we're going to, of course, be using our Google Hangouts. So they must have some working knowledge of how to at least present in front of it using their webcam. These are very 2 search engines that we use a lot in our class because they restrict what students see as far as inappropriate content. So this is something they might want to have practice and use before. And then our Google Docs. They should have knowledge of how to use their Google Docs and share documents. Skills, knowledge, and methodology required of the teacher. Working knowledge of how to use Chromebooks. Working knowledge of how to use Google Hangouts. If teacher needs more practice, they may visit these sites that I have available. I'm going to show you. This first one is a really good YouTube video that shows
your real cell phone number, and it'll text you an unlock code, and you can actually unlock the recording features.
So basically, this is just tell you how to bring your Google Hangouts to life and how to connect to other people. So if you need training, that's a great resource. And then this one is a PDF. It's not a PDF. It's a website article that explains the 7 ways to use Google Hangouts in the classroom. So if you're a teacher and you're trying to find out, you know what, I want to use this, but I don't know how, you want to read this website. It's under We Are Teachers, and it's very cool. Back to the presentation. Skills needed for students. Students need a Gmail, high-speed Wi-Fi, basic computer skills, knowing how to log in, working knowledge of how to use search engines for research, working knowledge of how to access their Google Docs, share documents, and having knowledge of typing skills, working knowledge of how to rotate and follow through with assigned group roles. You must model these things beforehand, and ability to read and present. What are students asked to do exactly? Students are asked to, in their small group of 4, be able to assign their roles to each other. Once they have assigned their roles, students will use their Chromebook to look for questions and clues. They will share their notes within their group. They will be given a group number where they'll be identified to know when it's their turn to present. Students are not to be talking louder than a whisper. A level 1, we have level 1, 2, 3, and 4. So level 1, when someone is presenting, students are to be collaboratively working together, even if the other class they get it right or wrong. If someone finished early, they can be strategizing or completely quietly guessing with their peers presenting this team state location. They may even use their Google Docs to research and track their thoughts. Some advantages of Google Hangout include that it's free, browser-based. It's incredibly intuitive, so anyone can start using it right away. The quality of it is great, and it has a great YouTube integration. Disadvantages is that you need invitation. You can't just get started in a video chat or text by yourself. You have to have somebody that you invite. If somebody's being inappropriate, you can't stop it. So those are not good things. The possibilities that this can be transferred. Google Hangout is a great resource for all subjects and can be very simple or complicated to use, depending on the teacher lesson. Identify and save locations is a great for all grades. If a grade level's common core standards are different, then the teacher can select a different subject content for students to research instead. Very simple. Our lesson 2, using Chromebooks to increase reading comprehension. So, since becoming a one-on-one district, like I mentioned before, I've been using the site called Read Theory. It's an adaptive approach that fosters improvement by automatically meeting learners at their own individual ability levels. Sign up takes seconds and no time is spent vetting assignments. Progress is shown on an intuitive report and on meaningful websites. Students will be using this over the course of a month to track their initial reading comprehension score to their final score. Through the process of looking at their own progress and keeping a data account that I've created for each student, shared it through their Google Docs, record their scores daily. And I know that the system automatically records their scores, but it's something that I really enjoy when you can keep track of the scores yourself. It does something mentally for you. From this, you will find the benefit of using the Chromebook and the resource Read Theory to improve students' reading comprehension levels. So the technology that you need and resources for this lesson, you need to have access to a Chromebook, headphones. This is right here is the Read Theory website, and your Google Docs. That's where you're going to be keeping track of your scores that I've already pre-created. All right, let's take a look into Read Theory. And so when you go to the website, this is what it is. And you sign up, you create your students' accounts, and you see this little passage right here. This is literally how their passages looks. They read a passage, select the answer choice. And I'm already at 11 minutes, so I'm not going to take too long to log in and show you because I know it's going to stop on me like it did before. But once you log on, you can see your students' data reports. I'll just show you some reports. Select on a student. Well, you have to upload students. And you can see information. I currently have no classes. Oh, I guess because summertime, my classes must have went away. But this is Reading Theory. You must have a working knowledge of how to operate a Chromebook. Teachers must. A working knowledge of how to operate Read Theory prior to engaging. Be able to make accommodations for students who need speech-to-text option. Knowledge of individual student reading levels. And you must model a few times how to log on and how your students will follow instructions before beginning this lesson. The skills and knowledge required of students. They must have a Gmail account, high-speed internet. They must know how to log in a computer, to use a mouse, keyboard, to read instructions, and listening and follow along skills are really important. Students are exactly going to take out the Chromebooks and headphones. They're going to log into the computers, and they're going to take a pre-assessment. From that pre-assessment, it's going to level them off to a set of questions based on their test scores. Once they have taken a pre-assessment, the next day, because it's only 15-25 minutes a day, they're going to start into the areas that they tested in, and they're going to be answering at least 2 passages and questions, and they're going to record those every day in their shared documents, and that's how they're going to get credit and points to follow through. And by the end of the month, my students will be able to track their scores and see are they improving in this reading theory. As previously stated, this lesson has been developed for a class that can work independently on their own. If teachers need to teach how to navigate through the Read Theory, that should be done through the whole group modeling prior to beginning this lesson. Advantages: it has differentiated reading to students, i.e. progress monitoring, free to use, user-friendly. Students can access at home. Disadvantages: internet access is required. Does not accommodate students who are blind. If something happens to a website while students are working, they can become frustrated and discouraged, which could impact their reading score. What types of effective instruction strategies are included? Encourage use of higher order thinking skills to build reading comprehension levels. Use of multisensory activities, clear expectations and modeling. Attempts to increase engagement and motivation of tasks instead of using pencil and paper. What are the possibilities of the innovation? And the conclusion. All technologies mentioned would be simple for most teachers to use or to integrate into the lessons from grades 2nd through 12th. Students that are young may have more challenging issues with reading, that they might make this lesson more of a frustration than an engagement activity. Students with disabilities may need alternative assessments. That is all. And actually, I do want, because I was reading very fast, I do want to go with you back over their tasks. So keep in mind, this is done during my students' reading block, and my students are keeping track of their scores daily. And actually, I'm trying this with my niece, so I'll know the scores later. But thank you again, and I hope you have a good day.